Be advised, antique demon photographs incoming. Feast your eyes on flesh and blood creatures conjured from hell by occult sorcerers. Stories of such incantations stretch back millennia and extend into modern pop culture. The lesser beings were called imps. They served their conjurers as obedient subordinates, often acting as servants, guard dogs, or even collaborators, as well as agents to go out and torment selected targets, but most of all grim reminders of their master's ultimate fate. Such diminutive demons are a popular staple of low-budget horror. I'm haunted by the thought of these creatures stalking the shadows of some warlock's den, or even the bushes outside your home. Some could call on more profane horrors still. Full-fledged demons pulled up from the pit and made flesh. Some taking the commonly depicted form of a goat-headed satyr. Others something even more monstrous and alien. They represent an abominable fusion of all the worst qualities of man, beast, and beyond. Perhaps the only thing more terrible than hell's natives are their offspring with humans. We'll see you again soon. This inhuman entity was once a man. The Oldries wrote of several such occultists, transforming themselves in exchange for knowledge and power, much like the classic tale of Faust and his bargain, also popular in Lovecraftian horror. After decades of devoted occult study, some could hold communion with diabolic entities from other realms. Those traversing deepest into the darkest secrets of the universe, most favored by their masters, could be granted the ultimate reward and sentence. Eternal life is one of the damned. Harold Oldry was the family expert on such creatures, as well as all other demonic entities, with many occult artifacts of his conflicts remaining in the family even to this very day. Take one last good long look into the face of an occultist turned devil, and prepare yourself. We've much to see yet. Sweet dreams. A human-demon hybrid captured on film. The result of human cultists interbreeding with physical demonic creatures, either born of hell or remade in its image. A popular character archetype in horror fiction across various mediums of pop culture. The truth is closer to its mythological counterparts. Many have suggested the Nephilim, the biblical race of giants said to be the offspring of men and fallen angels. And while the descriptions are not wholly dissimilar, those keeping it made no reference to angelic beings. It strikes me much more like the mythic Cambion, said to be the offspring of humans with any number of demonic entities. A deeper connection comes in its reference in the Malleus Maleficarum, which my ancestor called a mostly abominable book housing a handful of secret truths, such as the horrid beast created in the union of men and other worldly beings. Deep within the thick stone walls of St. George's Keep, the demon hybrid was the most feared creature of all. While most of the other prisoners of the keep were eventually broken into a semi-docile state, the guards tread especially carefully around it, having lost many brothers. From what little I know, this creature was instrumental in the keep's eventual ruin, and may possibly stalk the area to this day. Why do demons often present with horns? It is an aspect of their appearance often depicted in reported encounters and artistic interpretations, including the modernly popular image of the demon Baphomet. But this feature was not always so paramount, with many more ancient depictions of demons lacking horns entirely. Many believe this later addition was due to the demonization of the Greek god Pan. Pause to read about him. Many features later ascribed to demons and the devil align with classical depictions of this deity. My ancestors, the Oldry line of hunters, believed the real answer to be more complicated, as they knew from their work, and those within St. George's Keep, real demons often did appear with horns, though that did not mean their approximation to Pan was coincidence. By a certain point, this was what many believed demons to look like, for whatever reason, and demonic entities, being as much spiritual and psychological as physical creatures, could mold their manifestations, at least partially. They wanted people to know what they were seeing, their goal being to incite utter horror. Lesser demons likely bore less control over their form, explaining their lack of horns. Or perhaps they meant to intentionally fool people into from some kind of relatively less malicious, Fey-type creatures such as hobgoblins or brownies? Does this cursed relic hold a connection to the demon Prince Stolas, as described in the Ars Gotia Lesser Key of Solomon as taking owl form? The vampire Alexandra instructed me to retrieve the cursed object, but insisted I do so only under the new blue moon, when the greater views of the cosmos would distract the old demon, who according to the Lesser Key held an obsession with astronomy. I cannot deny the unnerving similarity between his iconography and this frightening idol. I arrived at the home of the afflicted family to a cold response of a people in turmoil, mostly unwilling to share details. The younger member led me into the woods where it was buried. Soon into our trek, I captured a glimpse of a strange entity on video, which I filtered to make more visible. Several black cats appeared around us as we got closer, seemingly out of nowhere. We arrived at the site, a tree that seemed to have been struck by lightning, and got to work digging out the item. As I pulled it from the dirt, a violent chill washed over me, the black eyes piercing into my mind. With few words, we trekked back to my car, and I returned home to seal the item away in the protective container, where my ancestors had sealed similarly dark and cursed objects. Satanic cultists were one of many near-consistent threats my ancestors faced. This is not in reference to the modern-day, mostly politically motivated atheistic followers of Satanism, nor the countless innocent pagan witches scapegoated and persecuted throughout history, but actual flesh and blood worshippers of the Christian devil, Lucifer, who were to do his bidding on earth, a tradition dating back roughly as far as any other form of religion rooted in Christian mythology. My ancestor Harold Oldry notably faced off against them on Blaculla Island in the 19th century, as I've covered in several videos. However, the conflict continued well into the modern era with Harold's grandson, my great-grandfather Leopold. He wrote about observations of contemporary activity connecting various historical cults, including previous followers of Maria Daniklovska, a famed Russian occultist and satanic follower, who founded the Brotherhood of the Golden Arrow, and regularly practiced satanic rituals. Herbert Sloan, the founder of Our Lady of Intercoven, was also present. His cult, which began in the 1940s, claimed to be Gnostic Satanists, and was named for the biblical witch of Endor. It was also connected to the founding of modern Satanism under Anton LaVey. Leopold pondered in his journals on the possibility of people above LaVey, true believers using this age-old concept of pretend Satanists for a default purpose, convincing thousands to pledge themselves to an organization in Satan's name, and creating a knee-jerk reaction to doubt the reality of any such belief.
One of the most interesting and occult supernatural creatures in American folklore, said to haunt the pine-barren forests of southern New Jersey, with reports going back centuries and possible connections to ancient esoteric mysticism. The Jersey Devil. Sightings and descriptions vary, but all seem to report a large, demonic, winged beast, originally called the Leeds Devil, for its association to one of the country's oldest families, embroiled in rumors of the occult, beginning as early as the 1600s with Daniel Leeds, who became ostracized from the Quaker Church due to his obsessive study of Christian occultism and mysticism, cosmology, as well as demonology and angelology, obsessions that may well have directly led to the creation of the reported creature. According to popular legend, a woman referred to as Mother Leeds had cursed her 13th pregnancy, offering the child up to Satan himself, and upon the child's birth, it quickly transformed into a monstrous demon, the creature reported to this day. According to the Oldry family of hunters, based on the many writings I've inherited from them, the Jersey Devil could possibly be two different things. I believe that the most likely explanation is that it is some type of summoned demon based on the studies of Daniel Leeds passed down through his family, likely multiple different entities. Another possibility is some type of cambion, a human-demon hybrid, given the story of Mother Leeds birthing the thing herself, though the story is unconfirmed. Read about both in the Oldry family bestiary.
If you're familiar, I mentioned that my ancestor, one of the people that he spoke to and he knew was William Blotty, the man who wrote the book, The Exorcist, that the movie was based on. If you're familiar with this idol, it's because it was featured in that movie, but this is the real one that inspired the story. This does appear to be the head of a statue of Pazuzu, an entity that was once worshipped as a god, but I do believe was a demon. I do believe that there are legitimate pagan deities. I also believe there are some things that once called themselves gods that were actually demons. The way that this item works is you would sneak this onto somebody's property, into their pocket, onto their belongings, and this would invite the demon to possess them. Sometimes the lights get weird, the candles get weird while I'm talking about them. Burning white candles on this wolf skull is one of the ways that I do protect myself. I have a lot of different kinds of protections here, including that picture of Bridget. It is also very strongly believed by myself and by my ancestors that she has put Fae protection on us, because the goddess she's associated with has a very strong connection to the Fae.
I've somehow captured demonic voices. I know that's a huge claim. I'm going to show you. If you follow me, you know I post a lot of things about paranormal, supernatural history with my family here in the house, my ancestors. If you've seen my most recent video, you've already seen it, but I'm going to show it again, and let me give a little bit of context. I've been posting a new series of photographs of supposed vampires inside of a very old album that belonged to my great-great-grandfather, supposedly a vampire hunter. I was talking about very unique specimens, ones that defy certain classification, specifically one that seemed to involve some kind of witchcraft or demon worship of some kind. And this happened. Here you're going to see I'm showing a photo of the vampire in question. Then it gives a warning before showing another photo that is supposedly cursed to some degree. And then this demonic growling, snarling, chanting, all kinds of weird sounds take over the audio completely, ruins the rest of the video, manipulates the text-to-speech voice and the music in the video in a way that I wouldn't even know how to do.
Due to occult practice and witchcraft during her life. Similar to a satanic undead haxan, as shown here. Regardless, Mother Nun was capable of vulgar feats of devastating dark magic.
You can see as soon as I show that, the whole video, the audio is taken over. I'm going to show more of it here.
To have come from a cursed race of human-like brutes called ogres. For unknown reasons, this ancient connection randomly presented in an otherwise normal vampire.
And it just goes on in this way, really ruining the video. You can't hear the voice most of the time. You can see the rest of it. It's the video just before this one on my page. This feels menacing. Some followers who listened on live even thought that maybe it sounded like it was saying my name. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think.
Vampires that defy normal classification. Some undead stand unique from any of their brethren, the most terrifying being a woman known as Mother Nun. Some believe her to be some aberrant form of vampire elder, the more supernatural secondary vampiric form that sometimes manifests. However, her abilities and temperament led Harold Oldry Jr. to doubt this. He believed it was due to occult demonic practices during her life. Similar to another undead creature, the demonic Haxan Witch. Regardless, she is greatly feared, able to feed from any who've seen her without even touching them. Donald Burns is another unique case. When taking this photo, he supposedly looked like an ordinary man. He was believed involved in active devil worship, a surprisingly rare practice among vampires. His picture developed in such a way anytime he was photographed, representing the darker stain on his soul. A different type of unique case would be Reggie the Bat, who transformed into a humanoid bat creature shortly after being turned, seemingly harkening back to the primeval origin of the vampiric curse, believed to have come from a cursed race of monstrous ogres, man-like proto-human beasts. For unknown reasons, this older version of the curse presented itself seemingly at random. Stay tuned to see the most horrific vampire subgroup of all, Rotters.
God damn it, not tonight. Of course it'll be tonight. Is there anything going on in here? Anybody here? I know a lot of things have happened around here. If there's something around here messing with me, making noises, show yourself.
It's an ancestor that's afraid of something else. I'm not afraid of you.
Mother Nun was capable of vulgar feats of devastating dark magic. Richie, the back creatures, said to have come from a cursed race of human-like brutes.
I want to talk more about this most recent paranormal entity I'd captured on video, shown here in a composite screenshot. I couldn't see it while filming, but here's the original video. Then here it is, slowed down, brightened, and zoomed in. This is the clearest screenshot I could get, where you can make out clear ears, horns, the red of the face, and one that's less clear but seems to show an upheld clawed hand and some kind of flame coming out of it. Finding the odd shape of the body familiar, I finally realized where I'd seen it before. It is strikingly similar to the very first apparition I captured on video upon first entering the home. Take a closer look at this screenshot from that initial video. It appears almost like an incomplete version of this later, more demon-like entity, which itself bears resemblance to the demon from the Oldry family bestiary. It's a troubling situation to say the least, especially given my family's history with such things. I've encountered a lot of activity in this house, and I've shared everything with you that I've captured on video. From full-body apparitions, to shadow people, to things moving on their own, and what was until now the most terrifying, the vampiric spirit attached to my bloodline that's haunted us for 5 generations. But thinking that this thing has been watching us since our first day in the house might make this the most troubling thing I've encountered yet. I'll keep you guys updated.
Blackhalla Island, Sweden, said to be the site of the Devil's earthly court, as well as the most harrowing Halloween night in history. As told in multiple witch hunting guides, here the devil would appear, a contradiction of demonic horror, often dressed in fine linens. The island was accessible only to witches, flying on brooms, fence posts, livestock, even the bodies of sleeping men. The court involved a feast where the devil's most esteemed witch brides would sit closest to him, while all pricked their fingers and signed his book in blood. The island, now called Blodjunkren, exists as a cultural site to this day. My ancestor, the hunter Harold Oldry, went to the island, along with a Celtic druid which he freed from church imprisonment. With the powers of her connection to the goddess Bridget and the mythical Fae, along with Harold's hunter skills and weaponry, they stood against the true Satanic cultists, who had long made scapegoats of women accused of witchcraft. You can find that full story on my profile. There were, however, some who could be called witches that did in fact serve various devils. The worst of them made into demonic horrors themselves, called hexen by some. One called the burned woman faced my ancestor and the witch who aided him that fateful Halloween night. Warning, I'm now showing a hexen photograph. It is written that viewing such images can be harmful.
So here's a video I found pretty disturbing. A follower sent it to me. I'll let you see for yourself. I don't know what language is being spoken in the background. As always, we'll look into the Oldry family bestiary to get an idea. My first thought as to what I think is most likely is a very large summoned demon. Not only because these are the most common of the options that I'm going to show, but it gives me that same uneasy feeling, this video, that I get when I view this photograph. You can see here a little bit of information about them. However, it also seems quite similar to this high-level Cambion human-demon hybrid. I think this is less likely than a summoned demon given their more rare status, but as you can see here, it does seem to have the size similar to what they were looking at in that video. Of course, this is the offspring of a high-level demon, but you can read a little bit about cambions here as well. Another possible but less likely option is that it is a minotaur. Its horns are quite different than the one shown here, but it could have been created with a different type of bull. You can read more about the minotaur here. Let me know what you guys think. What kind of creature are these guys seeing here? I'd like to point out that my first attempt at posting this video has been sitting in review for over 24 hours now. Hopefully this attempt makes it through. Does the Catholic Church think the devil is taking over politicians? This is from an older story, but I'm just seeing it for the first time. It was very recently reposted. This was an interview with the late Father Gabriel Amorth, who was also the focus of the movie The Pope's Exorcist. He opened the interview by saying everyone is vulnerable to the work of Satan and that the devil loves to take control of people with political power. I think it's worth noting that Father Amorth was said to have performed 70,000 exorcisms in his life. He said the devil also loves to take over business leaders and that evil exists in politics. He mentioned that this included the Axis leaders in World War II, and in saying, "How do I know this?" he quoted scripture saying, "By their fruits you will know them." He went on to clarify that we can't say it was a possession in the strict sense of the word, but rather a total and voluntary acceptance of the suggestions of the devil. And one thing he said that I really liked was that he, quote, "I tell those who come to see me to first go to a doctor or a psychologist. Most of the time there is a physical or psychological basis for explaining their suffering. The psychiatrists send me the incurable cases. There is no rivalry. The psychiatrist determines if it is an illness, the exorcist if it is a curse." He went on to reiterate that no one is safe. The devil is very intelligent. He retains the intelligence of the angel that he was. Now, to be totally fair, while Father Amorth was recognized by the Pope high up in the church and performed many, many exorcisms, he also believed that things like yoga and reading Harry Potter could lead to the devil as well. I'm not one to think that just because he might be wrong about one thing that he's wrong about everything, but I do want to reiterate that, these are not necessarily my beliefs. I'm just telling you what the church seemed to believe, at least at the time. He went on to mention that 90% of the cases that he dealt with would be, for example, of somebody casting a spell on someone else. Basically, somebody knowingly or not inciting that dark energy. And he said the other 10% came from membership in Satanic sects or participation in seances or magic. Perhaps unsurprisingly, he did believe that those satanic sects were proliferating. There was a time where I might have laughed that off, but from what I've learned about my great-grandfather and other things, I don't know, I'm not willing to dismiss these things. I think there's a lot of different kinds of evil that exist out there, and a lot of types of good as well. It's not so black and white.